Good morning, guys. It is 6:50 in the morning on Monday, the 19th. I wanted to give an update. Pretty exciting update, actually. As many of you know from watching my Instagram and my YouTube channel, last week I sent out another 1,364 books. And the week prior I sent over 1,000. Those books finally started rolling in. They hit on Friday night, and not all of them at once, of course. They're starting to trickle in, but my sales have absolutely skyrocketed. I did $930 on Saturday in sales, and then yesterday I had my first $1,000 day. So I'm super stoked. Can't wait to see where this goes. As I said, a ton is still rolling in, so that should be compounding on itself. But it seems like if I keep this pace going, and I'm in month 6 for people that are just hopping in, I just started 6 months ago, I should be doing anywhere from 25 to 30,000 in sales every month. And from what I've seen so far, my profit margin is around 40%. With that being said, I do have more overhead now than I did before. I just got to the warehouse this month in August, so now I have rent to pay for a warehouse. My rent is $1,800 a month, which some people said is high, some people said it's low. I don't know, I think it's medium. But this also isn't all I do. So I have other income streams on Amazon. I've been a consultant since 2015. I also was doing private label, but I hung that hat up a while back. I think this model is way better. And the profits there, you don't have a bunch of people trying to knock off your stuff. So I think that this is a great opportunity for everybody to get into this, and you can do retail arbitrage with anything. There are things you have to get ungated in, which means that, you know, you have to prove to Amazon that you're a legitimate seller, either through invoices from a distributor. But everyone can do books without, everyone can start books, no problem, without even getting ungated. It's one of those things. I'm able to do video games now, so I've been thinking about that a little bit, but right now I'm sticking to books. I want to talk about, I got about 5 chats yesterday on Instagram asking me about, hey, I want to look into Gaylords, but I don't know, what's the best path? Like, how many do I buy? Where do I buy them? How are you transporting them, all that stuff. So let's talk about that real quick. But so first things first, if you're not buying at least 4, it's not going to be worth it to you for several reasons. If the smallest truck you can get with a lift gate is 16-footer. So a 16-footer, I've actually done 6 at a time. However, I didn't realize that was way over capacity. And it really depends, because sometimes when you buy Gaylord, sometimes they don't fill them up full. Sometimes they're like half full, which is actually more common than not. If they're half full, they're about 500 pounds. If they're full, they're 1,000. So what I was doing a couple times was I was transporting 6 at a time. The capacity on them are about 3,400 pounds, I think. And I go and get them from Penske now. I was doing Enterprise, but Penske always has them. So I just started using them more frequently, but they're 16-footer. The capacity is 3,400 pounds. So, if you have 4 full ones, that might be pushing it a little bit. However, my warehouse is 5 minutes from one of my main sources. So for me, it's, I'm not even going over like 30 miles an hour. And, I don't feel that the truck is struggling whatsoever. Tires aren't low when it's loaded. So anyways, just be cautious and safe about that part. But anyways, you can easily get 4 onto a truck, a 16-footer with a lift gate. And you have to work that into your costs, obviously. If you're buying 4, I get them for $75 each. So when I buy 4, it costs me $300 plus the truck, which it comes out to usually $115. But what I started doing to be a little more efficient was I actually, because my source is so close, I do multiple runs in a day. And actually, here's a little tip: if you don't get your truck, if your source is close, don't get your truck in the morning. Get your truck in the evening and go pick up in the evening, because if you pick up in the evening, it's a 24-hour rental. So technically you have it for 2 days. And so doing it like that, I was able to get, like, most of the time I'm getting 12 now. So I do 3 trips, and again, it's only 5 minutes away from me. If yours is further, get a 26-footer. They're not much more than a 16. I think the mileage does go up a decent amount, the per mile cost, but yeah, get a 16. You can fit about 10 in a 16 before you go over the weight capacity on that's 10,000 pounds for a 16. If you have a CDL license and you're lucky enough to have one of those, you can get a CDL 26-footer, which hold 18,000 pounds. So then you can double stack them all. So that'd be awesome. But always remember, if you're getting into the game of bulk, you have to factor in your truck costs. You also need to factor in your time. I just went over the time it takes me to pick up, load, unload, process, sticker, and ship out an entire Gaylord, and it's 5 hours. And now that's like conservative. I'm sure I can do a little faster than that, but you need to be looking at how much time it's all taking you and see what your hourly is per Gaylord. Mine, with the last run I did, I was making about $125 an hour. So, you got to be aware of those costs. A lot of people, like I know a guy who he drives like 7 hours to go pick up Gaylords, and he might get like 8 at a time. That's 14 hours round trip, like added into all those, if he does good on the Gaylords, he still has to divide all that by all that time spent on the road, going out to get them, all that lost time that he's spending to go find them and grab them. And so that's like, those are real costs. You can't just say, oh, it's okay, it's just my time. It's like that really eats into how much you're making per hour. And if you're gonna be doing this, you really need to be making, I think my buddy of mine, he told me he's making $65 an hour based on his source right now. I would say anything less than that, don't even bother doing bulk, because it's a lot of work. It's very heavy. It's very physical. Everything's heavy. It can be stressful driving a big truck full of a ton of weight. I've almost crashed into a few people a few times, because when they hit the brakes hard, you got that much weight in your truck, you're not stopping very quick. So there's a lot of other things to consider. But yeah, if you like I said, if you can make over like 65 an hour, I would think that's definitely worth your time. But you're gonna have bad batches too. Oh, and here's another thing while I'm thinking about it. The best I've ever had, I pulled out 225 green books in a Gaylord, that's like insane out of 1,000. And I don't think there are even 1,000 in there, but it was basically like a 25% accept rate. And I've had as bad as 7%. So that's only, assuming it was full, that's only 70 books. So you can do good. You can have batches that are absolutely terrible. My buddy just told me that he had one where he pulled out 10 green books and he was almost to the bottom, and he just said, screw it, I'm done with this one. So 10 green books, guys. He actually lost money on that box. And I've never lost money on a box, but it also doesn't feel good when you're only making, when you're only pulling out 50 to 70 books. That doesn't feel that good. But also, let me end on this note. When you're using Scout IQ or Scoutly for your scanning apps, you need to adjust your triggers. And that's because when you're pulling out, like, so you've already bought the Gaylord at this point. So it doesn't make, why would you throw away books that are gonna net you like $1.50 when in a thrift store, obviously $1.50 is not gonna cut it because you're paying $2 for the book. So there's a ton more books you can pull out, you know, that are gonna make it more worth your while. So you need to adjust your triggers to where if you're, you know, you can set it to whatever you want. I do $1.50 personally. Anything over $1.50 in profit and say a rank of, or an E-score of 20 to 30 or higher, I take it. It's totally worth it, and it just makes you more money at the end of the day. And also, I just started having a guy list for me about 2 weeks ago. And what we decided to do was do 20 cents a book to process. So that is great for me because, and for him, but great for me because now my costs, I know what my costs are going to be. There's no surprises. There's no slacking. Like, you know, he's just sitting there not doing anything. I'm paying him hourly. There's none of that. I know, you know, if he processed 200 books, he's getting, you know, whatever it is, 40 bucks. So, and for him, it's great because he can make more than, you know, an hourly salary if he's going fast. So he's happy with it. I'm happy with it. And I highly suggest if you are getting somebody to help you list books, pay them per book. And like I said, I'm doing 20 cents and I think that's plenty. You can process a book in 20 seconds. So if you do the math on that and they're not taking a ton of breaks, I mean, basically, I don't have the math in front of me, but I'll do it right now. So they can make 60 cents a minute times 60 minutes. That's $36 an hour if they're doing 3 books a minute. Even if you're super slow and you can only do 1 a minute, which is ridiculous, I'd hire someone else. That's still 12 bucks an hour. So still decent and it's good for you. So I'm sure a lot of you won't even have where you'll have a full-time lister anyways. You'll probably like have them, maybe you have them come once a week on a Friday or something to list all your books. You know, because if you're doing let's say you're doing 4 Gaylords a week, you just go once a week to get 4, which I was doing for a while. You'll only pull like, you know, call it 280 to 350 books to be listed out of there. And so, yeah, a person that's listing all day in one day can probably go through all those in one day. So you'll only have to pay them, you know, 200 bucks in a week to list all your books, and that is totally worth your time, trust me. So anyways, you guys have a good day. I'm going out to scan some books. I got another, I think, 6 Gaylords to go through today. And soon I'm going to have a full-time scanner because my freaking wrists hurt and my back hurts. And this stuff's no joke when you do it day in and day out all the time. I'm going to start moving to doing just finding contacts and yeah, just focusing on the numbers, making contacts, and just bringing in the books and having my listers and scanners do everything for me. And as always, I'll let you know how everything goes. I'm hoping these sales numbers continue to grow for me, and I will check in with you guys again before the end of the month, but I'll definitely do a August recap to see how much we've gone up. Anyways, you guys have a great day. Kill it out there. I'll talk to you later.